Welcome to another Synfig tutorial, and in this one I'm going to be showing you how to rig the head of a character. Alright, so without further ado, let's get right into it. So first thing I want to show you is what's going on over here in my layers panel. As we can see, we have a lot of layers, so let me just break these down as best as I can. So we have a layer for the hat, and notice that this is actually a group, and within the group is actually all the parts that make up the hat. Okay, these parts all work as one to create the hat. We have individual layers for the eyebrows as well. So here's the right eyebrow and we have the left eyebrow, and both of these eyebrows are within a group that I've called eyebrows, and this is just so I can actually move them together, right, as one shape. Okay, but I can also move them individually using their separate layers. The pupils are within a group called pupils, and they work as one. I don't have a need for them to move separately. So this group will have them working as one layer, right, or as one solid object. We have a group for the eye white, right, and that's just for the back of the eyes. When I turn it off, we can see that the pupil is also hidden, right, and that's because I think I have a piece of this rigged already, so I'm going to change this. So don't worry about that for now, we'll get back to that later. Right, so let me try turning that off again. Okay, that's good now. Alright, so we have a separate layer for the nose as well. Let me see if I can find that here. So we have a separate layer for the nose, we have a separate layer for the mouth, and these spots, which I call the freckles, they are a separate layer as well. Okay, I have one for the skin, right? I've separated the skin and the border for the skin, because I wanted the border to be above the face that we have here. Okay, so but we'll get into that hopefully later on in the video. All right, so now that you understand somewhat of what's going on here, oh, and we also have the main folder, which I've labeled head all, which contains every one of those shapes. Okay, all right, so let's actually get into rigging this. So before we even start adding bones, we have to decide how we want the character to function. All right, because there's no one rig fits all. You have to sort of decide what you want the character to do, and then you rig based on what you want the character to, what actions you want the character to perform. So this character is basically turning to the 3/4 view, and I want his face to be able to move to the side, right, so we can see a side view, and also be able to move back into place, right. The way it's constructed, we wouldn't necessarily move him to the left, but we will be able to move it to the left based on how we read it, but it won't look all that well because there was no preparation for the way it would look going towards the left side. Okay, so right now we're focusing on just moving it within the space and also to the right. Okay, also we want the face we want piece of the face to be hidden whenever we move it to the right, but we'll get into that once we start rigging. So yeah, with that said, let's go. So we essentially want to group up all the parts of the face together, which I already went and did, right. So the eyebrows, the freckles, the eyes, the mouth are within one group, which I've called the face, right, and the name doesn't really matter, I just call it the face because it makes sense, but you can name it whatever you want. Okay, and notice I didn't put the nose in the group, and that's because whenever we move the face, we want pieces of the face to be hidden, but we want the nose to remain outside. Okay, so that's why we have it separate. And I'll actually rig this now so you can see what I'm talking about. So here we have the face, and if I should move the face, it comes outside of the borders of the face, right? So let me undo that. So what we want to do is, with the face group selected, I want to come over into my properties, and where it says composite, I'm going to change this to onto, and that's all we need to do for the face right here. So if I move this, you can see that it's hidden within the borders of the face. Okay, do all of that, right? And don't worry about the nose. When we get to adding the bones, we'll actually add it to the face so it can move along with the face. Okay, all right, so we want to do the same thing with the pupils as well. So notice when you move them, they go outside. So let me just with that group selected, I'm going to go to composite, and I'm going to change this to onto, so that when we move it, it's now within the eyes, and it's not coming outside of the borders. Okay, so let's move on. So now we need to add the bones. So I'm going to go all the way up to the top here, the second to last folder, and I'm going to right click, new layer, other, and add a skeleton. Okay, and here I have my first bone. Now there are different ways that we can rig this. There are also different ways that we can utilize the bones. We can actually add multiple skeletons, or we can use the one skeleton and just keep adding like child bones and pairing them to each other. But for this particular one, I don't believe I've done a tutorial showing you how to use multiple bones, well, multiple skeletons. So I'm going to be constructing multiple skeletons with this one. Okay, so for this, I want this to control both of the eyebrows. Okay, so I'm gonna call this eyebrow, and I'm gonna type underscore and B, so we can know that it's a bone. Okay, so yeah, we want another bone for the pupils, so I'm gonna just well, we can right click and go back to new layer and do all of that to get a new bone, but we can actually copy this right here. So Control C, Control V. Right, so this makes our lives much easier. And please note that only copy when you haven't connected the bones to a part of your object, to a part of your whatever you're rigging. But if you already went ahead and like parented them to, for example, the eyebrows or the eyes, you shouldn't copy. Just go back to right click, new layer, other, and then select it from here. Okay, but because we haven't connected anything, I can copy it. Well, I can duplicate the bones, and I'm going to call this one pupils. Actually, change this pupils underscore B. Okay. Oh, and also you can place the bones pretty much anywhere you want to. We could place them on the objects if we wanted to, or we could place them over here, wherever wherever you would like to place them, you can place them. But I'm just going to leave them over here. Okay. Now we also want one for, let's see, we want one for to move the face as a whole. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this again. I'm gonna call this face bone. So FACE bone. Okay, so I'm gonna use this one to control the face, and I think I need one for this ear. well, for both ears actually. So I'm going to call this ear left. I'm going to put this one on the ear itself. And I'm going to create another one. I'm going to call this one ear right, for the right ear. Okay, oh, also always remember to save, okay? Remember to save at all times. And I'm going to use this opportunity to erase my history, because I know that I don't want to undo anything right now. So yeah, so we have the left ear, right ear, which is a duplicate of this. So let me put this over here. And I think that's all the bones I need. Well, if you want to also rig the hat, you could just add a bone to it, but I'm just going to leave that out because that's very easy. Okay, so let's start connecting the bones to the objects. So I'm going to select the eyebrows, which is the group layer. Oh, by the way, if you wanted to move the eyebrows individually, you could create two separate bones for them and then create another bone that would be parented to those eyebrows. As a matter of fact, let me actually do that right now instead of telling you that you can do it. Let me duplicate this, call this eyebrow underscore L for left eyebrow. And I'm going to duplicate this one. I just realized that I have two E's, okay. And I'm going to duplicate this again. I'm going to call this eyebrow right, I think. Yeah. Okay, so we have those separate. So let's go ahead and rig them now. So I'm going to start with this one. So the left eyebrow is going to be rigged to this one. So let me click on the left eyebrow, and we already know how to rig if you watched my previous tutorials, but I'm just going to do it one more time so you can just in case you didn't remember, you can refresh your memory. So click on the left eyebrow, and then I'm going to look for the left eyebrow bone up here, which is this one, and then click on the control point for the layer itself, then right click the bone and click link to bone, and then we can actually test this by moving the bone. Okay, so we see it works as it moves. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that for the rest of these. So the right eyebrow, and this into bone. I like to test it immediately after I've connected them, but you can rig everything and then you test them if you would prefer. Okay, so now this bone, where's that bone? This bone is which one? Okay, so this is the eyebrow bone, which should control the both of these, right? And actually, the cool thing about Synfig is I don't even have to connect this bone to these bones. I can actually connect it to the group. So the eyebrow group, I could just actually parent that bone to this. So it still controls both of the eyebrows, and we still have these individual bones to control them separately. All right, now let's move on to the pupils. So let me scroll down a bit. Pupils. Connect these, link to bone. And there we go. Oh, And let me just quickly do the ears as well. So this is the left ear, I believe. Yes, it's left ear. Well, let me actually go and rig the right one first, since it's right here. So here, I'm just searching for the, oh, okay, here it is. Into bone, and let me connect this one as well. So this is, I believe it's all the way at the bottom of my layer stack. Yeah. And where is that left ear? Oh, here it is. And there we have it. It's all linked. Okay, so notice when I click on the folder, it actually goes, it opens the folder. Well, if I click it within here, it opens the folder, and you see all the pieces that make up the shape. Now that sometimes can be annoying, so what you can do is click on the folder, and over here in the properties where you see lock selection, just left click right here to tick it. So if I click on the ears, it will only select the group and it won't select the contents of the group. So let me demonstrate that using the pupils. So I can left click here, let me click off that, and then click on the pupils again. Notice it won't go in the folder, it will just select the group by itself. So I'm actually going to do that for the rest of these, at least the ones that I don't want to view the contents of. You can also, even though you lock them, you can still come over into the layers panel and open the group and see the contents. It's just that whenever you select it over here, it won't open up the folder immediately. Okay, so I think I want one for the, let's see, the ear right. I'm gonna do it for the hat, even though we're not gonna rig the hat. I'm gonna do it for nose and the mouth, and yeah, I think that should be okay. I mean, if we missed anything, we can always come back and select it. Okay. Okay, so that's all good. Now let's finish rigging the rest of these. Okay, so I want this one to control the face, so I'm going to click on the face group, which is this, and then just connect it to this bone right here. So when I move that, the face moves. Okay, and all we need to do to make the nose follow along with the face is just to rig the bone, the bone to connect to the nose. So, or at least parent the nose to the bone, which is the same thing. So let me go to nose and just parent it to the face bone, like so. So where we move, we can see, so the face stays within the confines of the border, but the nose moves off, and it gives the illusion that the character's head is actually rotating. Okay, and now we can see the reason why we had individual bones for the ears, and that's so whenever we move the face, we can just use the bones and just push back the ears to actually further sell that illusion of the head rotating. We also need to connect this ear, this bone, to this one, so that when this moves, the ear also moves. So I'm going to do that using the the ear layer, which is the right ear. So I'm just going to connect that to the face bone. And now we can see it's moving. Now there are certain situations where it would be best to connect the bone to the bone to the ears, and then the bone parent the bone to the face bone, well, the ear bone to the face bone, because you would want the bone to move along with the ear. But for our purposes, we don't necessarily need that, and Synfig won't hold it against you. You can get away with a lot of things when it comes to rigging in Synfig. So there we have the head moving as a whole. Okay, and of course we have these again that you can hide. And don't worry if you don't see the control. We can just select the bone within the layers up here. So I can select the bone and it will be highlighted with it wherever it is on the canvas. And the face is essentially rigged to perform, you know, the actions that we require. Now there obviously are more advanced ways to rig this, right? But this should get you started. Okay, and you can also use my tutorial. Go watch my tutorial on sets, where I explain how you can actually turn these groups into sets. Well, create sets for these so that you can quickly access certain parts of the rig whenever you need to. Okay, and yeah, so we can also, the ear is separate. We wouldn't necessarily want to put a bone for this because we can just go and manually animate it moving and waving and stuff. So that part is okay. And yeah, I think that's it for this tutorial. I hope you learned something. I know I rambled on and on, but there was a lot to cover. So that's it for this tutorial, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.
Yo, MRD.